During my time making videos whilst playing FM24, I've had countless saves where I've gone years and years into the future of world football, and as such, I've seen a lot of those young players with potential grow into some of the world's best, and in some occasions, I've seen these Wonderkids win the Ballon d'Or. So today, I'm going to be taking a look at those players that I've seen actually have Ballon d'Or potential. Now, if you've played FM in the last few years, you'll know it's usually this man, Erling Haaland, and Kylian Mbappe who win most of the Ballon d'Ors at the start, but after a few seasons you start to see some of those younger players stepping up to the plate and taking the mantle as the best in the world. So today I'll be focusing on those players under the age of 21 that are classed in-game as Wonderkids. Now some of these are pretty well known and will cost you, upwards of 100 million in some cases, but there's some in this list that I've seen win a Ballon d'Or or sometimes win a few Ballon d'Ors that can cost you under 10 million. So hopefully there's a player for everyone. But let's start off with the most obvious, the most expensive and the most boring of the bunch we're looking at today, Jude Bellingham. Everybody already knows him. He's got world-class potential. He's got world-class ability at the start of most saves, and for that reason, you will see him going on to win plenty of Ballon d'Ors. He's older than most of the players in this list, but is still classed as a Wonderkid at the start of FM, so we had to talk about him. He will win Ballon d'Ors, but we'll move on from him. And just to let you know, the database I'm currently using is the standard FM database after the winter update, but if you want an updated database that reflects the current in real world season, everyone being a year older, new Wonderkids, updated transfers, and updated promotions and relegations, amongst many more, you can get all of that and more for free in our FM24 to FM25 DLC, which you can find linked in the description. I could have used that for today's video, but I thought most people will probably still be on the standard FM game, but all of these guys will still be great players in the updated database still, don't worry about that. But now that we've got Jude Bellingham out of the way, let's get rid of the other two most obvious picks in this list. There's 11 in total, and I think the first three that I'll show you are the ones you might guess, and everyone after that I think you'll be pretty surprised with. But Lamine Yamal, of course, was going to be on this list. I have seen this guy win so many Ballon d'Or awards, and I think in real life he's got the potential to do that. He is already one of the world's best wingers at one of the world's best teams. Of course, he's still super young, and he's a vital part of his national team setup. Bar any kind of major injury, this guy will go on to be one of the world's best in both real life and in your FM saves, and I think in FM, if you're paying anywhere under £80 million or so, you're getting yourself a bargain, which sounds crazy to say that 75 million could be a bargain, but for Lamine Yamal, you are going to get years and years worth of production, goals, assists, a fantastic player, and one that I think many of you would have guessed. But staying in the same nation, but heading over to bitter rivals Real Madrid, of course, Endrick is one of those that tends to win Ballon d'Ors too. So Yamal, Bellingham, and Endrick are the three that I think are the obvious picks in this video. I've seen him win plenty of awards, often though not with Real Madrid. In many saves I see him leave Real Madrid and do better elsewhere. Everyone knows how good this kid could be. Obviously there's a lot of competition at Real Madrid, which means he isn't a guaranteed starter every game the way that Yamal is currently, but there is still a super high ceiling here for Endrick. In a few years time I think we'll be talking about him as one of the best in the world, but in FM the Brazilian is an absolute superstar, often available from Madrid on loan or sometimes on the transfer list after a few seasons, so keep your eye on him and you might get a Ballon d'Or winner for yourself. But they're the three most common players out the way. Now I've got 8 players that I wanted to highlight as ones that I have seen consistently win Ballon d'Ors in the future. Obviously there are some other players that have won the odd Ballon d'Or, maybe 1 or 2 in these saves that I've done, but these guys I always see in and about the Ballon d'Or awards. And I think this one will be quite surprising for many people because he isn't exactly one of those players that everybody is talking about in world football, but there is big belief that Noah Darvic, the German playing for Barcelona, could go on to be an incredible player in the future in real life, and in game he pretty much always does that. He's a future prospect at Barca, but with a few years growth, I mean he's only 16 here, within a few seasons he will look incredible. He is one of the best you can get in the midfield area or attacking midfield, a left footer with great flair, creative ability, he can dribble well, and of course being 16 he has got a super high ceiling to get even better than this. He's already 6 foot, he's got some great player traits as well, and for 20 odd million quid I actually think he's worth the money, but if you wait a season or so often that price will come down a little bit. He won't get guaranteed football straight away at Barca, but within a few years he will go on to do big things, and I've seen many a save where he wins Ballon d'Ors. Who knows how things can go in real life though, obviously players' careers are so difficult to predict, but in FM if you get Noah Darvic, he is a player that could win a fair few Ballon d'Ors. One that might surprise you guys is Facundo Buonanotte of Brighton, currently on loan in real life at Leicester. Now if you've watched smashed Leicester this season. He has been their standout player. I expect him to go back to Brighton next year and be a key part of their team, and will likely move on to go even higher than Brighton in the future. He is an Argentinian international at a young age, and the attacking midfielder is a fantastic talent in FM. I mean, his valuation is super high at Brighton, but give it some time, maybe you can get him on a cut price deal. But I'm not necessarily looking at bargains here. These are Ballon d'Or winners in the future, and Buonanotte might surprise a lot of you guys because he isn't exactly one of the world's best youngsters, I would say, in real life, but I think in a few years we'll be talking about him as one of those. The guy's got bags of ability in Football Manager, so much talent technically, obviously still so young and with a real bright future ahead of him. He's already coping well in the Premier League at a young age, so that is usually a good sign that he could go on to do big things. And I've seen him win plenty of Ballon d'Ors in my saves. But we are now about halfway through our list and there's some big surprises coming. But if you are enjoying this video, make sure you do go ahead and smash that like button for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already, as we close in on 200k subs, which will be a huge milestone. And if you like me and my content, you can find my channel linked in the description, where we do more Football Manager videos. Coming this week is a rebuild with Lyon after being relegated into the second tier, and I think you guys will absolutely love that one, so make sure you come check out my channel should you want to. But let's get back to the list. Another quite surprising pick though that I have seen win plenty of these awards is Paul Wanner of Bayern Munich, who when you start your game in FM24 will be on loan at Elversberg, a team in the Bundesliga 2, but in real life now has gone on loan this season to Heidenheim in the first division of Germany. He is playing Bundesliga football. He's a German under-21 international and looks like he has a huge future ahead of him. Lots of comparisons already to Florian Wirtz and how his career has gone. Whether it will turn out like that, who knows, but Paul Wanner is someone that Bayern Munich think have a big future, and he's playing a lot of football already for his club Heidenheim. Now, he is a player with great ability in FM, but you wouldn't look at him straight away and think Ballon d'Or winner, but he's got great potential, and that often leads to him developing real fast. He is benefited by the fact that he is already at one of the world's best teams, so by the time that he's been loaned out and developed a little bit, he is going to be playing for a team that's winning lots of competitions, and as such that will help him in potentially winning that Ballon d'Or award. But Paul Wanner is someone that I don't always look at and think will be the world's best, but in so many saves I've seen it happen. Trust me, this guy is the real deal. He's had a tricky start to life at Barcelona, but Vitor Roque is a player that in Football Manager has the world at his feet really, and can genuinely be the best player on the planet. In real life it didn't go too well for him and he's ended up being loaned out to Betis for this season. Hopefully he can come back to Barcelona and find his feet there. I know he wasn't very well received by the supporters, but hopefully in time he can become the player that they thought they bought from the Brazilian divisions for a pretty big fee as well for such a young player. But there was already a lot of hype around him. In FM he is guaranteed to be a future Brazilian great. Whether he can go on to win that Ballon d'Or might depend on how much game time he gets at Barcelona, but he is a fantastic talent and at full growth can genuinely look like Ronaldo R9 reborn the way that he plays. He's got great finishing ability, he's creative, he can dribble. He's already such a good talent at a young age, and by the time he's 21, 22 and developed a little bit more, he is usually one of the world's best strikers and as such has a chance to win the Ballon d'Or. But Vitor Roque is a player that I would not write off just yet. But now we head into our final four players, and Matthias Tell of Bayern Munich is the final one that's really at one of those elite clubs in world football. The other three are all available for a pretty good fee of under £10 million or so and have that Ballon d'Or potential. But let's talk a little bit about Matthias Tell. The Frenchman playing for Bayern Munich was signed for a pretty big fee from the French tier with Rennes, but there is a reason why. This wide player who can also operate up front has huge potential, huge ability right from the off as well, and in real life I think he was really wanting more game time last season, maybe didn't get it, but Bayern Munich definitely see him as a key part of their plans going forward. From what I've heard, he's really exciting to watch in real life, but from where I know him, Football Manager, he is certainly exciting to watch. He's got flair, he's got speed, he's got a bit of strength about him as well. He is physically a pretty big presence at only 18. He can also finish, dribble well, he can create a chance, he can hit a set piece too. There really isn't much that this kid can't do, and once he kind of finalizes those attributes, develops a little bit, you'll soon see this kid is definitely able to go right to the very top, and often in Football Manager wins Ballon d'Ors, and probably more so than most of the players we've looked at today. But a pick that might surprise you as having won countless Ballon d'Ors in my saves is an Ivorian striker playing for Austrian side RB Salzburg. It is Karim Konate. Now, if you've played FM this year, you'll know how good this guy can be. He's valued at about 20 million quid here, maybe a bit less, but I've seen him in some saves be available for far cheaper. He always tears up for Salzburg. One of the reasons he develops so well is that right from the off, he is playing football for them, and that means he gets that development under his feet. By the time he's 2021, he will make a move to one of the world's biggest teams, and from there, I've seen him win a Ballon d'Or before from Manchester United. I've seen him win a Ballon d'Or for Chelsea. I have seen this guy be the world's best striker on many an occasion, and you can kind of see why it's coming, because mentally he's really strong, he can finish, but physically he's quick, strong, and is only going to get better as the years go by. He's really determined as well, and I think it really is just that fact that unlike many others who are waiting for their chance, because Karim Konate plays for a lesser club in Salzburg, he gets football straight away, he tears it up. We know the strikers that have came through Salzburg before: Benjamin Sesko, Erling Haaland, and now Karim Konate looks to be the next one. This one might surprise you, but I have seen Junior Krupi be the world's best player on a few different occasions now, in many different saves, whether I've had the French leagues loaded or not. This guy is almost inevitable in how good he becomes. He's playing for Lorient in the French divisions, and at 17, even though it says breakthrough prospect, I would go as far as saying he's probably already one of their best players, because as a striker or an attacking midfielder, you can't ask for too much more than great passing ability, dribbling, shooting, first touch, really good mental attributes as well for a player of such a young age, and his physicals aren't bad too. Many people are expecting him to go right to the very top. Naturally, there's Mbappe comparisons coming out. So far, he's actually in the second tier in real life now with Lorient after they got relegated last season. He's played 10 times for them. He's scored 7 goals. He is already scoring at a young age. It won't be long before he's blasting them in the first division of France, and then probably will move on to one of the world's biggest clubs. That's both in-game, but also in real life. I expect that to happen. I think he'll be a household name in a few years. So come back to this video, 2025, 2026, and we'll see how far Junior Krupi has come. But all signs lead to him going right to the very top. But what about a Ballon d'Or winner for only £3 or £4 million? Well, Sever Housef Naipan is your man. Now, in real life, I don't quite think he'll reach these heights. I could be wrong. I don't quite see it happening, but in FM, it pretty much always happens. He will move on from Rosenborg. He will play for one of the world's biggest teams, and he will turn into an absolute monster. He is a brilliant player with huge potential, a young central midfielder from Norway. Caught the eyes of many people in a match against Manchester United for Rosenborg last season, I believe it was. If you've played FM this year, you'll know in game he is one of the best you can get. He is probably the fan favourite of many people in this year's Football Manager. In real life though, I maybe see him moving to say a Dortmund or something in a few years time, getting some football there and really blossoming into one of the world's best midfielders, but we'll see if that happens. Obviously a young player's career is so hard to judge. I don't necessarily think he'll go right to the top, Ballon d'Or winner, but he is clearly a player with star potential, and if all goes well, we'll see it come to fruition in real life. But there are some Ballon d'Or winners that you can sign in Football Manager. Some you'll have known about, but some I think might have surprised you with just how far they can go. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure you smash the like button for us, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.